Have you ever dreamed about perfect beach escape? Today I am taking you on a journey to Curaçao, a Caribbean gem packed with swimming and beach vibes. Curaçao Island is located in Caribbean Sea and is very close to Aruba and Venezuela. While many come here on a cruise ship, I believe that most of travelers plan to stay here longer. And for those who plan to stay here longer, I would recommend to rent an apartment next to the beach and away from the center of WILLEMSTAD, so you will be able to enjoy this amazing water. Detailed recommendations about where to stay I will leave in another video. Once this video will be done, I will put a link in the description below. But meanwhile, I would suggest you to subscribe to get notification about new videos. Over 155,000 people live on Curaçao, while most of them reside in the WILLEMSTAD. It's a vibrant capital of the island, and there lives around 144,000 people. You'll find colorful houses lining the streets, a mix of Dutch and Caribbean influences, and delicious restaurants everywhere you turn. The local currency is Netherlands guilder, but dollars and cards are acceptable everywhere on the island. So I would recommend you to take with you small dollar bills and avoid exchange fees. More about WILLEMSTAD you can find in the video linked below. And while WILLEMSTAD is a beautiful city, I would recommend to stay a bit away from it, just to enjoy the nature and wonderful beaches. But here is a pro tip: most beaches on Curaçao Island are private, so choose your apartment next to the public beach or to private beach that will offer daily passes. For example, that's how looked public beach next to my apartment. And just next to it there was a private beach, but this one was more oriented to the clients of the hotel and not open for the public. So, before booking an apartment, I would recommend to pay attention to the beaches. Here you can see one of the most advertised beaches on Curaçao Island, Mambo Beach. On the beach you can find restaurants and all infrastructure that you may need. One life hack: you can ask on a private beach if they allow free entrance at the end of the day. For example, you can visit Mambo Beach on Curaçao after 16:30 for free. Also, I would recommend to search for beaches that defend you from high waves. For example, here you can see ideal option. All those rocks will defend you in any weather. And here's example of beach without rocks. It worth noticing that on Curaçao Island you can face strong currents, and I strongly do not recommend swimming with high waves here. And while we are speaking about waves, most posts on internet advise to stay on the south of the island, since on the north of Curaçao you will face high waves way more often. Another advice for you: remember to bring your own snorkeling mask. This island is ideal for snorkeling. I never visited a place with such diverse marine life. Each beach offers unique encounters, and some even have specific species to discover. Because of it, you can even try diving here. Dive centers are scattered around the island, offering excursions to popular spots or personalized underwater journeys. Recommended beaches on Curaçao and their locations you can find in a separate video linked below. Besides marine life, you can also find interesting creatures on the land. There are many iguanas all around the island. Head outside of the city to find their biggest colonies. For example, I visited Lagoon Village, and here you can find a lot of beautiful creatures and plants. Besides iguanas, you can also find big lizards or land crabs. Especially I liked the yellow ones. And of course, do not forget to pay attention to the birds. There are many beautiful birds that you can find here, but in my opinion, hummingbirds were separate mention. There are actually many places where you can find them. And of course, do not forget to visit local flamingos. There are several places where you can find these beautiful birds, but the amount of flamingos strongly depend on the time of the day and part of the year. Here you can see birds that I saw during sunset on November. While you are on the beach, you can find another kind of birds. Those birds especially like to live next to fishermen's boat and get some free food from people. There are many different kinds of birds all around the island, so pay attention for them to see something new. Curaçao's plant life is equally interesting. For example, here you can see manchineel trees, marked with warnings as their sap is toxic. It is dangerous to touch or even stay under those trees. Also, I would recommend to remember those trees, because not every one of them has the sign, so you wouldn't touch it occasionally. The island's cacti are impressive in size and variety. And be sure to admire the beautiful flowers that add pops of color everywhere you look. Now let's speak a little bit about the transport. Reaching Curaçao is easy with flights or cruises. And once you arrive on the island, you can use taxi, public bus or rent a car. There are two main bus stations on the island, and you can find a variety of bus routes. But you should pay attention to the schedule. The buses are not so often riding here. But overall, the buses are comfortable and pretty cheap option that I used myself. But if you're coming just for a couple of days and want to see as much as possible, I would recommend to rent a car or take a taxi. Also, I would like to mention the prices here on Curaçao Island. Since it is an island, the prices are pretty expensive, so I would recommend to take everything you may need with you. If you have time, try to use public transport, because even a taxi from the airport to your hotel will cost more than $40. The same is related to mobile internet. Here you can expect prices for tourists at about $70 per 1 or 2 gigabytes. Also a good option to save money, rent an apartment, so you can cook yourself. Also you can find local fishermen and buy a cheap tasty local seafood. Bring small USD bills and do not exchange for local currency. To see my personal experience on the island, you can watch this video next. Or you can also check the description below and see videos about other aspects of Curaçao.